23-year-old, I packed my bags, took a one-way flight ticket to Austin, Texas. No family again in Austin, no friends in Austin, and moved countries. I used to have this maths teacher in class 11th and 12th. He was actually the coaching teacher that I had, Giri sir. I think he was my first love. I don't know. I say that half jokingly again. But I learned the joy of learning from him, even though I was studious all my life. But class 11th when I found Giri sir, I think it opened my eyes how fun learning can be. Weirdly enough, ISB was the only school I applied to because I was loving my time in Austin and I was almost hoping that I wouldn't get through and I will continue to stay here and have a chill life and then we'll see what happens. But I actually got through. And I still remember that 5 a.m. when I got the notification on my phone that the results are out and then I looked up and I had gotten, I just sat on the bed and I'm like, जाना पड़ेगा क्या वापस India? Like I had that feeling. I wasn't very conscious about my career. I would put it that way before ISB. I think ISB brought that consciousness into if I'm taking this course, इससे मैं क्या सीखूंगी, which will help me get to where I want to get to. I think again the joy of learning after Giri sir came in ISB. I think बीच में था ही नहीं वो. Like the joy of learning was not there. ISB is a 1-year course, right? So people start preparing for placements the day they get in. You know, all of this, I just wanted to absorb everything. And then I said, कि फिर देखते हैं मजा किस में आ रहा है. And we'll do that. My approach was very, very different. When people were doing their 4th round of resume reviews, मैंने अपना master resume भी नहीं बनाया था. So I was very, very behind the curve when it came to placements back in ISB. But as always, things fall into place, right, when they have to fall into place. So started figuring out कि I think consulting could be something that makes sense. But I think my risk appetite was slightly lower back then. And so I chose a big firm consulting job, which I knew would pay big bucks. So I worked at Accenture for 7 years. I wouldn't say I owned revenue there, but I did own certain amount of sales targets, those kind of things. So I think I started to get a flavor, one, owning a business somewhat, and two, the impatience of not getting things done. That together really made me think कि यार मैं क्या कर रही हूँ यहाँ? And then GrowthX fit in. So a friend told me about GrowthX. My first thought was, but I don't want to get into a growth role. Like, this is not for me, right? And then I went to your website. I actually looked at the curriculum. I'm like, oh, this is actually not just about growth. I also want to add that after ISB, I felt it in GrowthX, the joy of learning. And I've not felt that, I think, in between again. People, man, like the cohort, when people spoke about what problems they were working on, it just sounded exactly the kind of things I wanted to work on. So it's something very concrete that you're working on. It's not a bunch of analysis that's going to sit at the back of a hard drive at a client's computer, right? I just loved all the experiences that people brought to those forums and the energy in those discussions where people just wanted to solve for a user. And I think that was really, really amazing. But the whole journey, right? I think not only was I able to bring very real world points into my discussions with these people, but I was able to appreciate the problems that the interviews were throwing at me. Right? So for example, if a Revolut is telling me the payment dispute numbers are going up, and I was actually able to deep dive into a problem because I had those frameworks with me. And that was something I wasn't able to crack, I think, pre-GrowthX. I think that mindset was not there of attacking a problem with a completely blank slate. So at MX Player, right, my role really revolves around building new businesses and monetization of those new businesses, right? So a couple of things that we're working on right now is we are trying to build a live streaming business. The kind of live streaming business we are building is entertainment and social related. So the biggest problem we are right now solving at MX Live, we want the users to be engaged and we want to convert them into paying users. So I think the biggest problem we are solving, I would say, is twofold then. One thing that I'm certain that's coming this year is continuing this momentum, figuring out my place in this new world. But I've also been thinking about a lot of other things apart from the work, right? So for example, writing. I think that's definitely coming up very soon this year.